Hello everyone, Ed, Slow Car Fix. I am here working on my 57 truck and I'm installing the fuel system, or I've installed the fuel system. I guess you'll have to wait and see. Check it out. It's from Tanks Inc. It's just a generic fuel system, universal, and I'll put all the links to all the things that I bought in the description, and you can see if this is going to work for your application. My goal over the next little bit is to try and get some of this onto this and off the floor. It's really rewarding when you have a pile of new parts or used parts that you've cleaned up or whatever, and they go from on the floor to on the vehicle. It's rewarding because then there's less stuff around and the truck is more complete. So I think I'm going to open the biggest box, which is the fuel stuff. I believe, now I ordered this a while ago, so I can't remember what's all there, but I think I got everything. So that's good. I'll do that. That little box on the top is the sender. This one I'll move to the side because that's for later. I'm tripping over these manifolds. I'm tripping over this drive shaft, so I probably should put them in at some point because they're not, both those jobs are not big jobs. This box is a big job because that's the entire fuel system for the truck. So I'm going to get started on that. Okay, most importantly, coffee. This is my tank from Tanks Inc. I just went online and tried to find who made the best sort of universal tank that would fit in my application, because I'm moving the tank from the inside of the cab to under the bed, and also doing the LS swap, so I need it to do a whole bunch of things. I also need an in-tank pump and all that stuff. So I got everything from them. It was expensive, but I think so far all the quality looks pretty good. The only thing I noticed is that one little corner got dinged in shipping. I'm not really worried about that. It's all coated. So I don't need to paint it, which is kind of nice. I got straps, they're over there somewhere. This is everything for the fuel lines. This is high pressure fuel hose, the regulator, filter regulator, Corvette style filter regulator. All the fittings are in there that go from this kind of hose, like a barbed fitting, that go to like an AN style fitting. This is my sending unit. This is my fuel thing for my fuel pump. It goes in. This is somewhere in here. This is my fuel pump. I think this is a Walbro. I think that's what I selected. Walbro something or other. This is oh, that's my filler neck, made in, yeah. So this is my filler neck that goes up through the bed, so that'll be kind of neat. Gaskets, what is this thing? Oh, it's my sock. Looks like this is like a vent thing. I don't know where that mounts. Lots of good instructions with it, so we'll see if they actually work. Everything has its own package of instructions, so hopefully I can figure out what the heck I'm doing. And then this is going to come through the bed floor, and I'll just have this guy sticking up this nice little cap. Yeah, I'm going to get assembling and see how this goes. Okay, it's already confusing me. So first thing I had to do was find out which hole it goes in, measured the depth, which I have. It's 7.5 inches to the top. And then it gives me math. What is math? So I got to go the depth of the tank. The supply line is the depth of the tank minus the pump. That gives you the length of the supply. I got to look, it's probably this one here. And then the return line is the depth of the tank minus 1 inch. So I've got 7.5 inches to this top flange, which would be to here. So I got to figure out how tall my pump is, and yeah, and then get that doing something. It's got a whole big picture here on how to do it. The instructions are pretty good, so I'm going to follow them and see if I can figure out what it is here. See, it says pump with sleeve. It's the depth of the tank minus 1 inch to the bottom of the pump. So I think that's the bottom of this. Oh, pump and sock. Yeah, interesting. So that's the bottom of just the pump, and then the sock goes on the bottom of that. So I will keep figuring, and then I will install this thing. Okay, fuel pump and just the fuel pump is assembled. The sock, the return line. So what I had to do was I had to measure the depth of the tank, subtract the height of the pump, and so the depth of my tank was 7.5. My pump was 4.5, so I had to leave 3 inches of hose, which is all good. I had to warm that up, put that on, tighten the clamp, put on this little insulator for noise, I guess, put on my sock, a gasket, and that's kind of what they wanted with the return, or the vent, I should say. Is that the return? No, that's the return. They wanted it 1 inch from the bottom, so that's 1 inch. So the only other thing it said was never run my pump dry. I'm not going to do that. It says for better seal, use Permatex. So I've got some gasket dressing from Permatex that I can use. And torque the hardware to 1/2 foot-pound. I can do that. And then this just goes in there like that. So the nice thing about this is all the, actually I'm going to put it like that because I want connections to go out where this dent is. So the nice thing about this is the wiring is a clip, and you can tighten these guys up and it seals them. The one I did on my Malibu, which was an Aeromotive stealth pump, I had to do some soldering and heat shrinking inside, like in the part that goes inside the tank, and I didn't really like that, but it hasn't failed, and I've got like 10,000 kilometers on it now, and it's no issues. But this is much cleaner, better. I like it. I think it'll be good. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the tank, then move on to the sending unit, and then I got to move on to figuring out how to put the tank in the truck. I know I got to do some modification there. I do have some straps, which is kind of cool. I was thinking far enough ahead to get some universal straps that'll work. So I just got to figure out where to go from here. So I'm going to put that in, then onto the sending unit. I'll show you that, and then I'll figure out what's going on with the truck. Okay, so this is my sending unit. I had to do something already. So these instructions look like they were sent in a bottle, one of those little bottles that floats to the shore. So it comes with a longer bracket because this is good from, I don't know, this will go to a very long length or depth of tank. So this, it says for tanks for depths of 6 inches to 15.5 inches, it will be necessary to remove the lower mounting bracket. Well, my tank is 7.5 inches, so I had to remove this lower mounting bracket. All it was it was on here like that, so that way it gave you more extension. So I just popped out the 2 screws that held it in, removed this piece, and put these screws back in, just as the instructions say. It's a little more detailed than that, but not a whole bunch. So now I have to slide this and adjust this for the height from my tank. And then the next thing after that is the arm, the bobber, that I have to figure out how that goes. So this wants, what does it say here? Adjust the float length. Reinstall. Oh, there it goes. So it wants the center of my rheostat, which is the center of this screw. It wants it half the tank depth. So my tank being 7.5 inches, I have to go half of that with that to that rheostat. So yeah, I'll measure that out, and then I just secure these screws where I want them. What is that, 3 3/4? And that's the pivot point. And then that rod, I think, goes on here somehow. I'll probably remove this thing and put the rod in and adjust the rod to length. So I'm going to measure that and tighten those up. So now that I have the height set to my 3 3/4 inches, it says to cut this off. So the lowest part of the tank is this guy here. So I did that, cut that off, that's good. And then I guess now I'm on to figuring out the arm depth. I've got to put the gasket on. What do I got to do here? Move the pivot point to the center of the tank. Yeah, I've done that. Plus 1/8 for the gasket thickness. Okay, that's fine. Cut off the excess mounting thing. Did that. Didn't get shavings in the rheostat housing. So slide the float arm until the top of the float is 1/8 below the mounting plate. Okay. So it says here float side, so that's kind of handy. So I'm going to not spin this around. I'm going to remove this guy straight out of here. Put this guy straight in here. And then it said I want it 1/8 from the top. It's not really a big travel. And then I'm gonna have to cut off the excess, because like I said, this is a universal deal. So see, that's all the way one position, that's all the way the other position. So it wants me to have this ball 1/8 from the top of this. Okay, I have this set. So what I had to do was I had to take the thickness of the tank, the thickness of the gasket that's going underneath this, and do my measurements from there. So it says in the instructions to go the height of this plus 1/8 to the top of this ball. But I had to add another 1/8 of an inch for the thickness of the tank. So it was from this 1/4 inch down, should be the top of the ball. And the way to check that that's right is when I spin it like this to the lowest point, it shouldn't be sitting right on the bottom of the tank. The bottom of the tank is 7.5 inches, so it shouldn't be sitting right on the bottom, because that's not going to give you a full empty. So it's kind of important to get this right, because this is your full and this is your full empty. So then now that I'm done all that, I can cut this off, and I can leave a little tail in case I need to adjust here or there, but I can cut it off, and that's how your fuel gauge works. This is empty and this is full. And then this is a ground, and that's power. Put my gasket on there, that same Permatex sealant, tighten it to 1/2 foot-pound, and that's my sending unit installed. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. Okay, I'm looking forward to getting this installed in place, because I've made a giant mess and I don't like it, so I want to clean this mess up. So here's the tank, prepped, ready to go, apart from the fuel lines. I haven't done them yet because I got to put the tank in place, make sure I like where it is, take it back down, then put the fuel lines in. I did do the wiring for the fuel pump and for the sender. I don't know why, but I prefer to use green for grounds. It's just, maybe it's because I'm an electrician, and in house wiring that's what you do, but this isn't house wiring, obviously. Also, I don't have any black, so I've got green. Anyways, so green is my grounds. I have obviously left all my wire on here, so that way I could just use what I need and save the rest, because that's going to go all the way up to the front of the truck, to where it joins into the fuse box. And this center unit thing goes to the back of the dash, so it would be handy to not have to join that a million times. Soldered and heat shrunk, crimped with a proper crimper, and heat shrunk over top, then everything heat shrunk together. That's the way to do it. Filler neck is on. Sending unit I had to screw with a little bit. I had to file out the holes just a little bit, just to get them to match the tank. I assume the tank is American made and the sending unit is certainly not. So I got it. It's all good. It just was something. So I got to put this in place, and I have to drill the hole in my bed floor for this. I think I'm going to put some like foam or something on here. I've got some in one of these mini boxes. I've got some sound deadening. That's what I'm looking for. So I'll probably do that, put some of that on the top of this, and I might even put some of that between the straps and the tank. Obviously I have to shape those straps to make them what I want. I have to find a spot to fasten them. I did notice I've got some taillight and trailer hitch wiring that I need to fix on the back of the truck. So I'll probably do that sometime while I'm there and making these connections. But focus today is fuel system. I got to keep on that. I brought in my lift table because I'm going to use my lift table and to hold this tank up, because I'm here by myself, and see how that goes. So I'm going to attempt to go put this in position now and mark the hole to drill the hole for the filler neck through my bed floor. My bed floor is nothing fancy on this truck. It's just 2x6. So should be able to drill through that, and then it's going to sit right up against these lumps here. So I'll look at putting some stuff on there. Okay, lots of work has taken place, believe it or not. It's hard to tell. So the sawdust is from me having to drill a hole in my bed floor. I have sound deadening crap on there. I have these 45-degree fittings. That is a, what is that? That's a 3/8 female. Is that right? 1/4 inch NPT to 6AN adapter fitting, and that is a 6AN 45-degree fitting. Now these fittings and this hose, this is push-on hose, so it doesn't need clamps, which I really have trouble getting my head around. But I only had one of the correct size clamps, so I chose to put it in the most important spot, and I put it on the fuel pump side just to be sure. I don't want to pull this out again. I can though. It's only 2 tank straps and it'll come right back out. This is a different type of hose. This is just 5/16 regular fuel injection rated hose. And that's just a short little tail. That is for this guy, which is a vent. I got to mount somewhere. Roughly at least as high as the top of the tank. They prefer it to be higher than the filler neck, but I don't see that I can do that. So it's going to be at least as high as the top of the tank. So I figured that's all I need. What I did, I kind of cheated because I don't want to cut this because I don't know where my fuel pump, or my Corvette style fuel pressure regulator, fuel pressure filter regulator. I don't know where that's going to mount yet. So I just took both ends of this and did one big giant loop. So it's going to be a little fiddly to put it in, but then I can figure out exactly where I want this to go, because both those lines go to this. And then the other line out of this goes to the fuel rail on the engine, which is right here. And that's it. Like, that's the fuel system. Now, this is a big deal. This is a lot of work. I've been most of the day screwing with this. The actual lines and running everything, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm going to take this opportunity to plug myself. I did a really good breakdown on a couple of different ways to do this when I did my Malibu LS swap. And I'll drop a link for that video in the description of this video. And you can look at that if you want to see a little different process. It's sort of the same idea with the Corvette style pressure regulator filter deal and the single line on the LS and an intake pump, but it's I used a Grand National tank in that, and I just did a little differently with the pump itself. This was sort of a pile from Tanks Inc. So anyways, I'm going to go put this in the back of the truck, strap it up. I did put some of this stuff on the straps itself, and I think even though this is coated, I think what I'm going to do is probably, once it's all up and installed, just give everything just a like that with rubberized undercoat. It'll just protect it. It's funny, people talk about, well, the tank shouldn't be in the back seat of the truck because it's unsafe. But what's more unsafe, having it in the back seat of the truck, or where I'm going to have it here, which is like just the other side of the trailer hitch? If I get hit there, well, they're going to hit the tank. If I got hit there and it was in the cab, it's not going to hurt anything. But that being said, I didn't want an in-tank pump in the cab to listen to all the time. So I moved my tank back here. So I'm going to put that in, and I'll show you what it's like when it's up and installed and in place, and then I will start plumbing these lines, I guess. Okay, so the fuel system is getting pretty well near done. I have some wiring to do, but all the connections are done. And there is the Corvette style filter. It's a filter pressure regulator. I have, the only thing I'm not real fussy on is I put this kind of wrap around this here to protect the hose. It doesn't look that pretty, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but it does protect the hose. Up here you can see I've installed the vent. That's as high as I could get it. However, that's just got a regular sort of clamp on it, so if I have to put it higher, I can splice in a piece of hose and extend it. These are those fittings, those press-on AN fittings. So this is the quick connect fittings, and these are the press-on 6AN fittings. So the fittings are, there's 3/8 and then there's a 5/16. So this one's 3/8, this one's 5/16 where it clips in. This guy here is different. That's a male fitting, which is, what's that? 3/8 male. That's a 3/8 male. And then this goes to 6AN. This is one of those push-on fittings. And then I've ran it all along, you can't really tell here, but I've ran it all along the inside of the frame rail. I did cut a piece of hose and put it over top anywhere where I think it might rub. I'm using rubber line clamps. I think that's probably the best situation. I ran it all the way up to the front on the inside of the frame rail. As I said, I used these clamps. I used, for the whole way down, I used, what are they called? Nylock nuts, so they don't come undone. And then I just have the one connection to do in the engine bay that's left, that goes to the fuel rail. And then I have to figure out where I'm going to route this wiring. And I have to come up with a good spot for my grounding, and then my fuel system is done. So I'm going to do that now and figure this out and figure out how I can safely run this to the front without wrecking any wiring. And a nice good spot to ground things. Then I do have some wiring back here that I have to fix at some point. Probably do that at the same sort of time. Okay, you can see where my tank is. I haven't painted it yet or anything because I haven't decided what I'm doing there. However, my connections are done, my ground is done, my wiring is done, my wiring's all run to the front. I just wrapped it with tape and then sent it along the same spot as the taillight wiring, which is kind of crude, but it's protected and it's not going to be a problem, so that's good. So I just have the terminations to do under the front. The one last fuel connection where it connects to the fuel rail, secure it to the firewall. This is all connected and good, I think. And yeah, looks good. Just tweak this a little bit so it's not rubbing on anything. Maybe secure that a little better. Always revisiting. I see it's all bent out of shape here. This is the one that came with the kit, this Corvette thing. I can get these locally pretty reasonable. They're like 40 bucks or something. This one kind of looks a little twisted out of shape, so I might go ahead and replace it, even though it is brand new. It's kind of twisted and bent. I'll see how it goes, but I'm going on a road trip this summer, and I think before I go on a road trip, that thing's going to get replaced because I just don't like it. It's kind of cheesy. It's must not be domestically made. But the good thing is these quick connect fittings, I can undo these AN fittings, pull this thing off, and then use the tool to pop these quick connects out and just replace it. No big deal. So I don't really like that now that I'm looking at it with you guys. It just looks a little funny. So I'll keep an eye on that. It'll do for right now, but before I do any serious road tripping, I'll probably replace that. I just don't like how this is all bent. Anyway, I got to do the connection under the hood, and that wraps the fuel system. So I'll do that connection now because I want to put some. I've got the original tank from the back seat of the truck. I've taken most of it out and put it in the side-by-side, using it for plowing this winter. But I got a little bit left in it. I'd like to drop it in this tank, and then I can get rid of that old tank. Okay, so this is the engine bay. If you can't tell, there's an engine in here. So the wiring, where did I put that? Oh, this is the two wires I ran up for the fuel pump. The fuel pump one has to connect to this guy, and then the yellow one that I ran goes into the cab for the sending unit. This is the fuel line. Now, I think what I'm going to elect to do is I'm going to leave a little slack here, and I'm going to go around the steering column, and I'm going to go up here, and this is the screw here for the, it's a nutser, but it's the screw for the back of the drive-by wire pedal. I have to pull that back out, so I'm not going to get too carried away, but I could put a clip right there and then throw a nut on the back of that. The reason why I'm going out and around the steering column is because if you haven't noticed, there's exhaust manifolds that have to go there, and I want to keep this away from that. So where this goes is to this guy right here. So I have to, so I think what I'll do is I'll just leave a little bit of slack like that. I'll cut it about here-ish, and then I'll put the fitting on, and then just click it in place. So I'll show you guys how this fitting works. So this is the factory one. So they just push on. And this push-on hose that I got from Tanks Inc. seems to be really good. Now, I say that now, but I haven't pressurized it yet to see if it actually works. or if it's going to sprinkler all over the place. I don't think it will. It's a pretty tight fit, and it's good. Apparently the fittings, they're Russell fittings or Russell style fittings, and the hose is good for 300 psi. So apparently in this installation configuration with no clamps, it's supposed to be good for 300 psi. I'm going to run 60. So I guess we'll see. I guess that's all we can do. I've never tried this stuff. A nice way to do it would be to like run stainless line from front to back or something like that, but I don't have the real setup to do that or the ambition. So maybe on a car that I had the body off the frame or something like that, or if I had a 2-post lift, that'd be ideal, or did it on one of the 4-posts. Anyways, I'm going to do that now, and I'll show you guys how that goes. Ideally, you would have a vise, and you wouldn't squirt oil all over the engine, but you just put a little bit of oil in the hose or on the fitting, and then it slides right on, and it doesn't come off. So that's wherever it went. This is the barb to 6AN, and this is 6AN to push on style. So you need a 5/8 and 11/16. Thread this guy on. They do sell really nice wrenches that are just for this, so you don't mark up your fittings. I don't have those, so I got what I got, and that's what I get to use. That's that. And then this guy, as I said, just pushes on. That's it. It's on. It's connected. So I'm 2 straps away from being 2 straps and solder joint away from being finished the entire fuel system. It was good. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to wrap this one up here. I have just 1 wiring connection and 2 clamps to put on, hose clamps, and I'm done the entire fuel system. So thanks for sticking with me. Hopefully you watch this to the end. Please consider subscribing. Check out my other stuff. Also check out my Malibu video of where I did this fuel system, and it worked, and I've got like 10,000 kilometers on that thing, and it's fantastic. So hopefully this one's just as good. Thanks for watching, and take care.